In the spring of 1826, Belmont House on Bicton Street, Exeter, stood as a proud Georgian residence, its red brick facade softened by climbing ivy. Home to the Fontelautus family, Reverend William, his wife Charlotte, their daughters Maria and Beatrice, and their youngest, a frail boy named Dennis. The house was a place of warmth, prayer, and quiet routine. But beneath its polished exterior, something restless stirred. Its presence felt first in the flicker of candlelight and the creak of floorboards in empty rooms. It was May, a damp and chilly month, when the first omen appeared. Agnes, the family's cook, a stout woman with a nonsense air, sat alone in the kitchen late one evening, peeling apples for the next day's pie. The fire in the hearth cast long shadows, and the house was still, the family long abed. As Agnes reached for another apple, a chill pricked her neck. She looked up, her knife pausing mid-air, and saw it, a small, headless figure, no taller than a toddler, gliding across the flagstone floor. Its form was pale, almost translucent, and it moved with an eerie purpose, passing through the pantry door without a sound. Agnes dropped her knife, her breath catching in her throat. She sat frozen until dawn, too terrified to move, convinced she'd seen a spectre. When she finally told the housekeeper, her story was met with a skeptical frown. But Agnes swore on her mother's grave, it was no trick of the light. Less than a month later, on June 1st, tragedy struck. Little Dennis, a delicate boy of not yet 2, with wide blue eyes and a cough that never seemed to fade, took a tumble down the nursery stairs. At first, it seemed a minor mishap. He cried but appeared unharmed. But within days, he grew listless, his skin clammy, his eyes dull. The family's physician, Dr. Harrow, could do nothing as Dennis slipped away, his small body succumbing to what the autopsy later revealed: water on the brain, a swelling caused by the fall. The procedure was grim, requiring the decapitation of the tiny corpse to examine the skull, a detail that left Charlotte weeping and William, the stoic vicar, pale and silent. Dennis's body was laid in a small oak coffin and placed in the attic, a temporary resting place until the funeral. The house grew heavy with grief. Maria, 14 and fiercely protective of her brother, refused to eat, while Beatrice, barely 10, clung to her mother's skirts. The nursemaid, Sarah, a young woman with a gentle voice, spent hours praying by the attic stairs, her rosary beads clicking softly. But the sorrow was soon pierced by something stranger. On the first night after Dennis's death, Sarah woke to a sound, a soft, coaxing voice, unmistakably Dennis's, drifting from the attic. "Sarah, come play," it whispered, the words curling like smoke. She lit a candle, her hands trembling, and crept upstairs. But the attic was empty save for the coffin, its lid nailed shut. The next night, Charlotte heard it too, the same plaintive call, "Mama, where are you?" She clutched William, tears streaming down her face, insisting their boy was still alive. Maria, braver or more reckless than the rest, claimed she saw something else, a small, pale hand reaching from the attic window, its fingers curling as if beckoning her. She screamed, waking the household, and refused to sleep alone for days. Reverend William, a man of God who preached fire and brimstone, was shaken. He'd long warned of demons masquerading as angels, and now he saw their work in his own home. "This is no spirit of our son," he declared, his voice trembling with conviction. "It is a fiend, mocking our grief." Yet the family's desperation outstripped his warnings. Charlotte, half mad with hope, begged to see her boy, convinced he'd been buried alive. Maria, too, pleaded, her dreams filled with Dennis's laughter. Against William's protests, the family exhumed the coffin from the churchyard, prying it open under the moonlight. The sight of Dennis's still, lifeless form silenced their hopes. His body was reburied, this time in the garden of Belmont House, beneath a young ash tree, as if closeness might quiet his restless spirit. But the house did not rest. Servants whispered of footsteps pattering in the attic, of a child's giggle echoing in the pantry. Agnes, who never recovered from her vision, left the household, swearing she'd seen the headless figure again. Neighbors spoke of lights flickering in Belmont's windows at midnight, of a small hand pressed against the glass. "'Tis Dennis," they murmured, or something wearing his shape. William, tormented by his failure to protect his family from what he called demoniacal activity, held nightly vigils, his Bible open to exorcism rites, but the disturbances persisted. By 1827, the Fontelautus family fled Belmont House, unable to bear its oppressive air. The property changed hands, but its reputation clung like damp rot. Tenants reported the same phenomena: a headless child in the kitchen, a voice from the attic, a hand at the window. Some claimed the garden's ash tree wept sap in the shape of tears. To this day, Bicton Street locals avoid Belmont House after dark, and children dare each other to touch its gate, whispering of the boy who lingers. Caught between worlds, his small voice still coaxing from the shadows. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, like, subscribe, and comment below.